Week 14 winners, Week 14 losers. We've got injuries. JJ comes back and gets injured immediately. He's coming back from the hospital, I believe as we speak, or has already left the hospital. But prayers up to him. But we do have to talk about the elephant in the room, that JJ now left you hanging once again. What do you do from here? All these players on screen we're going to talk about. This is just a fraction of the fantasy football goodness and, I guess, badness that we encountered in Week 14. Morning games, afternoon games, and Sunday night game, which just ended right now. We're here to do it live. We're here to break it down. The Fantasy Football Show, Week 14 reaction show. It begins right now. File on in, hit that like button. Let's go.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios.
It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live!
Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
From the FantasyFootballShow.com news desk, here is your breaking news.
So lots to talk about, a lot of things to update you guys on, and let's start off with some of the injuries. Actually, you know what? Let's not start off with an injury. Let's start off with an absolute monster. Let's start off with a couple positive things. Let's talk about, real quickly, JJ. Hang tight. JJ heading back from the hospital. Prayers up. Let's talk about a Moonman. Let's talk about a man named Deebo Samuel, who's maybe single-handedly winning people championships this year. Deebo Samuel, might I remind you, who pulled in 7 receptions for 149 and a touchdown. Oh, and let's talk about the rest of his stats in 1 second. Let's give him a standing ovation.
Mashed potatoes!
Yeah, buddy. Deebo Samuel to the freaking moon. Deebo is the man, the myth, the legend, a Moonman extraordinaire, a man that absolutely crushed it for fantasy owners in fantasy football week 14, a man that was on the Moonman list in 2023. Deebo was absolutely phenomenal. Let me pull up his stats the last few games. They've been unreal. So today Deebo had 1 touchdown on the ground, 1 rushing attempt for 1 yard, 1 touchdown. Okay, so he had 2 touchdowns on the day. But he had 7 receptions, as you can see here, for 149 and a touchdown. His last 2, God, you look back his last 3 games. I mean, he had a rushing touchdown 3 weeks ago, or 2 weeks ago. He's had the last 2 games against the Philadelphia Eagles and the Seattle Seahawks. He's had 116 and 3 tutties and 149 and 2 tutties. He's absolutely glorious. His name is Deebo. And he's going to Saturn.
To Saturn.
I'm sorry.
Mashed potatoes! Yeah, buddy.
I mean, why would we not send the man to Saturn? The guy can't be tackled. And it was Collinsworth that said this, not me. But I'm just reiterating it because I feel it too. But Deebo can't be tackled. Does anybody realize he can't be tackled? He's either ushered out of bounds, as Collinsworth said, or he's making players miss constantly, and he finds his way into the end zone. I rarely see Deebo Samuel tackled. His yak yards are through the roof. He makes, look, I'm not saying Purdy isn't amazing. You cannot separate situation from player. It is what it is. No one gets to talk about how this, Tua has Tyreek Hill. Everybody has players you can't take off their team. So this is not ripping on Purdy, but Purdy has such a great and easy job. Again, not a knock on Purdy. Purdy's fantastic right now in fantasy. Absolutely. But he's got these weapons. Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk doing a lot of this across the middle. Kittle across the middle is an absolute monster right now. This Niner offense is unstoppable, and the defense is playing in tune with that, on par with it, and it's just a give and a take, a cascading effect. They're by far the best team of football. The Eagles getting beat by the Cowboys tonight doesn't make me think the Eagles can't recover. Keep in mind, the Niners lost 3 games in a row not too long ago. Teams go on slumps. Teams go on heaters. And I still believe the Eagles are probably the second best team in the National Football League. And I think they can knock off anybody. They can knock off the Niners during any given week. Absolutely. 100%. But as of right now, this moment in time, the Niners are the best team in football by far and away. And Deebo Samuel cannot be tackled. He can't be tackled. He's either ushered out of bounds. That's the only hope. Or he literally, because he's the size of an awkward, very tall running back, it's like, in a way, trying to tackle Derrick Henry in a sense because Deebo's so top-heavy, and you literally either go for his legs, where he's stiff-arming you down, rolling you off the side, or you can't really bring him down. He's too big. He's too strong. And this man is always finding a way to get in the end zone. And a player like that, if they're healthy, is going to have 10, 11, 12 touchdowns. And if you use him like an RB, if you throw to him at the line of scrimmage, he's going to have 12, 13, 14 touchdowns and be a league-leading yak yard monster, because you're putting him in positions to use his talent and skill set. I love the way the Niners use him this year. They've misused him before, but he's absolutely in a zone right now. And Deebo, I don't see how Deebo Samuel slows down. I don't see how. First of all, they continue to throw to him on design plays. They continue to feed this man the ball near the line of scrimmage and let him do the work. And they're having huge success. So Deebo Samuel is by far and away a top 5 to 10 wide receiver right now. Easy. No question about it. You've got him. He's locked in to your number 1. Or if you're so lucky, you have another player on your roster that's slightly better than him. Maybe he's your number 2, but you're lucky because you have 2 top 5 wide receivers on your team. Deebo Samuel moving forward, top 5 to 10. No question about it. Moonman extraordinaire. Let's go.
Let's go. Mashed potatoes.
Deebo is so good. He's so good. Let's talk about another guy that absolutely. Let's start off on a good note, because there's a lot of negative stuff we're going to talk about today, but there's a lot of positive too. So I just want to hit a couple very solid things first. This man right here, Breece Hall, a Moonman extraordinaire,
to the moon
as well. And Breece Hall definitely Breece Halled some people today.
Get Breece.
Now, you might say, hey, Smitty, before you talk about Breece Hall, could you please play the Breece Hall video? Of course I will.
Breece Hall is 8 foot tall. He will always answer the mother freaking call. Don't let him fall. In the third, don't stall. Just give Batman the freaking football.
He's Breece. He's Breece.
He does a hell of a job. A hell of a job. A hell of a job.
Breece Hall, please report to the moon.
He does a hell of
Get Breece.
Boy, did he do a hell of a job today. Breece Hall didn't do a ton on the ground, but he averaged 4 yards per carry. 10 totes, 40 yards. Felt like, okay, this could be a bad game script for Breece Hall. Incorrect. That would be an incorrect assessment, Bob, because he pulled in 8 receptions for 86 yards and a freaking touchdown.
Let's go. Mashed potatoes.
Breece Hall in many circles was in the 25, 26, 27 point range. Depends on your scoring, but Breece Hall absolutely balled. He absolutely did a hell of a job in week number 14. Now, the question is, do they know how to use this man consistently? I don't know the answer to that. That's why some people had him on the bench this week. And I can't really blame anybody. No one's taking a lap if you sat him for what was perceived to be a safer option, like maybe a Zach Moss who crapped the bed hardcore, or maybe, let's say, you put in a player that was, you know, that was looking like they were going to be a really strong play. I'm trying to think of one off the top of my head, like Josh Jacobs. Of course you're going to play Josh Jacobs, right? Well, he gets injured. We'll talk about Josh Jacobs in a bit. We got a bunch of injuries to discuss as well. But man, Breece Hall was just glorious in this game. And he is so elusive. He, Devon Achane, and Jahmyr Gibbs are in a tier of above all other players in terms of their shiftiness and ability to get into available open spaces. And Kenneth Walker too, but we just don't see it as much. Hard to throw him in that category because they don't use him. But if you watch the Niner game, Kenny Walker shouldn't have did some of the things he did tonight. He was slippery. I think he had another big play call back, but he had an amazing play, a run against this Niner team, or was it a reception? Actually, it was a reception. It was a fake handoff, then throw to him. And this guy made something out of nothing. I think it was around 15 or 16 yards. But it was unreal. He probably ran twice or three times that amount trying to pull this off. Love Kenny Walker. Back on point. Breece Hall, Jahmyr Gibbs, and Devon Achane are shifty. They're crafty. They're slippery. And they have acceleration that other players don't have. And I think that's the main piece of this that lumps them all together and makes me identify them as special above a lot of other players in terms of their natural ability, and it all comes down to situation. Devon Achane, unmatched acceleration and speed and quickness. Jahmyr Gibbs, acceleration through the freaking roof. And his ability to make quick decisions and find a cutting lane. Look, Gibbs to the move. Gibbs did well today. Gibbs could have did better. We'll talk about Gibbs in a second. But Gibbs is shifty as they come. Breece Hall is on a whole nother side-to-side level. He levels up what I'm talking about with Achane and Jahmyr Gibbs. Maybe he doesn't have the top-end speed that both Gibbs and Achane have, but his ability to kind of pop around like a pinball inside of the offensive line as he's trying to navigate the A gap or pop outside or find some open space, one cut and go. Then he makes a couple other decisions to make this cut, that cut. He's not just one cut and go. He's shifty even when he's downfield if he needs to be. Breece Hall navigates to open space in ways that other running backs can't. These three running backs are phenomenal. It makes it frustrating, though, usage sometimes. Not necessarily with Achane. Achane's been absolutely phenomenal when he's been on the field. But Breece Hall, hard to know when to start him, to be honest with you. And I understand everybody's dilemma. There were a lot of start Breece Hall comments coming out of my mouth walking into this week, but there were some scenarios where I had to say, look, how do you play him over that option? How do you play him over that option? It's understandable. But coming off of this kind of game, you have to put him in. We have to find a way to always put him in. He's so explosive. He's a ride and die kind of player. He's going to have maybe 2 good games, 1 bad game. Hopefully not 1 good game and 2 bad games. That seemed to be the trend. But Zach Wilson was effective enough. As much as we hated him in this lineup, what was the alternative? There is no alternative because this coaching staff, Robert Saleh, didn't prepare. And he could have went and got Joe Flacco. He didn't do that. He didn't do anything. Robert Saleh didn't do a single thing to try and support this team in case plan A didn't work. It's like having one bus driver for the entire school system. What happens if the bus driver gets sick? Who's going to drive the kids to school? Robert Saleh? I don't think so. Robert Saleh got one man prepared and ready for the school year to drive all the kids to school, and the man was 40-something years old. And there's a higher probability he could get injured because Aaron Rodgers was an old man suffering a calf injury. Calf injuries kind of linger into potential Achilles sometimes. Something we need to monitor with a man named Nico Collins, which is very, very concerning. We've seen the calf injury take over fantasy football injuries this year like the old ACL. It's the new ACL. Calf injuries are the new ACL. And Nico Collins having this injury concerns me, but back on point, we'll come back to Nico in a second. Robert Saleh prepared for nothing. So there is going to be some inconsistency. I don't know what's in store for Breece Hall, but Zach Wilson, I never thought I'd say this, but I'm glad Zach Wilson's back. Zach Wilson, glad you're back.
Mashed potatoes!
I don't truly know why I feel that way, but the ball seems to move. Garrett Wilson did pretty well as on top of Breece Hall. Where's my Garrett Wilson? I'll come by it at some point. 100-yard game for Garrett Wilson. But Breece Hall to the freaking moon. He did a hell of a job tonight. He did his job. And he did it darn well.
Get Breece.
God, Breece, you monster. You absolute straight monster. Savage. Puka Nacua, 84 yards. Looked phenomenal in this game at times. Really like this kid. Anybody that has him needs to consider him a top 12 to 14 wide receiver go forward. Unbelievable player in the making. And this is a guy that coming out of week one, I did not love like I should have. And I take my laps. I admit my wrongs. I adjust and adapt. And if anybody in here doesn't like that, if anybody in here is more mad because I didn't love Puka Nacua coming out of week one, then this might not be the show for you, because I do adjust and adapt. That's why I try and get H-Chan doubters to flip over and recognize their fault. Recognize they don't know what they're doing when they continue to say Devon Achane no good, because they're trying to chase their bad decision to avoid him instead of recognizing real. Real recognizes real. Elite fantasy football owners recognize elite fantasy football talent. And Puka Nacua is an unbelievable player. Jahmyr Gibbs. Oh, actually, let's go over to where's Cooper Kupp when you need him? Where's little itty bitty Cooper Kupp, who had a phenomenal day today? Where's my boy Cooper Kupp when you need him? I think he's somewhere. I don't know. He's somewhere around here. I'll try and find him. But Cooper Kupp, I was showing Puka Nacua. Here he is. Cooper Kupp. I try and name these, but I was running low on time. Let me put Jahmyr Gibbs back in his place here. We'll come to you, Jahmyr. Just wait a second. Cooper Kupp. Puka Nacua did good. Guess who did good? Guess who? One of the top go-get players, over the last couple weeks, who's kind of not been doing what we want yet, comes out strong. 8 receptions, 115, and a tutty. Cooper Kupp. Maybe he doesn't have years left. Maybe he's garbage next year. I'll tell you what I think in the offseason. I don't think it's going to be pretty. Will I invest if the price is right? It certainly depends on the price. But it doesn't matter right now. Right now we're focused on week 15, week 16, week 17. Okay, week 15, week 16, week 17. We got 3 more weeks to worry about whether Cooper Kupp has gas left in the tank. And I've just checked with my fantasy football mechanic. Yeah, Steve, how much gasoline does Cooper Kupp have left in the tank? Is it enough to get us through week 17? He says yes.
Mashed potatoes. Yeah, buddy.
He might fall apart after weeks. Okay, no problem. Doesn't matter. We'll address it then. Cooper Kupp feels back. Cooper Kupp doing Cooper Kupp things. Nice little day at a little itty bitty Cooper Kupp. Appreciate that man. Jahmyr Gibbs. Has anybody understood the science behind why Jahmyr Gibbs is a top 5 to 10 running back in the National Football League? There is actual data and scientific theory that I've tested with colleagues of mine from the University of Arizona and ASU. Together, we brought research together. Here is our findings. But the continuum of the gigawatt component structure of Jahmyr Gibbs' workload divide has a megawatt offload that if you compartmentalize the component conjunction timekeeper and you flux capacitor out the continuum component megabolt, things just end up happening. And that's why Jahmyr Gibbs is a top 5 to 10 running back instead of top 6 to 10. This man, Jahmyr Gibbs, he looks better than Kamara looked coming out of college, more prepared to become Kamara. Schmitty, did you just say Gibbs was more prepared to become Kamara than Alvin Kamara was prepared to become Kamara? Gibbs is him. He is him. Him is he. He is Himothy. And he dropped 66 yards and a touchdown with an additional 3 receptions for 16 yards. Could have been a better day, I admit. I wanted more. We all wanted more. But at the end of the day, you add up the PPR stats, you mix it with everything, you blend it all together, and it's a potential monster performance. Just a little watered down from what it could have been. And I watching this guy run the football is just it's just a pleasure. It's a pleasure. The pleasure is all on this side of the table, Jahmyr. I appreciate you allowing us to watch you run the football. It's kind of like when Devontae Adams was running routes and Ocho Cinco was watching him, and Ocho Cinco, Chad Johnson, just started crying, legitimately cried. He said, they're beautiful routes. I'm not joking around. It makes me cry. He started crying, and I don't blame him. I really don't blame him. Part of me feels like that's probably going to happen to a few of us by the end of the season with Jahmyr Gibbs' rushing style. Let me pull up the RBs for the week. Breece Hall, number 2. Breece Hall, number 2 RB for the week. Zeke Elliott, give him his flowers. Zeke Elliott,
To the moon.
number 1 RB for the week. Unbelievable, 27 points. Zeke Elliott doing things. James Cook, we'll get to him in a second. James Cook, running back 3. Joe Mixon, doing it. A guy I say to avoid a lot, and I admit I'm wrong on this Joe Mixon situation right now. He's been playing very, very well. Although Chase Brown, our offseason, deep sleeper darling, had a little day too. We'll talk about him in a minute. Austin Eckler, finally back, running back number 5 in PPR this week. Took you long enough, Austin. Hold on, I gotta call the mechanic. Yeah. Is this what was my mechanic's name again? I think it was Bobby. Bobby, was it Bobby? I forget what I said. Bobby, yeah, Smitty. How much gas is left in Austin Eckler's tank? Enough for week 16, week 15. You're not sure about week 17. It could be close. Thanks, Bobby. Appreciate you. That's good enough for me for right now. Austin Eckler had, we'll get to him in a minute. He was running back 5. Rachaad White, former Moonman graduate. There's a reason he was on the Moonman list last year. But I admit, it was a situation walking into the offseason I wasn't too sure about, given Baker Mayfield. But Baker Mayfield has stepped it up. Rachaad White, running back 6. Unbelievable. Bijan Robinson, running back 7. We wanted running back 1. We wanted running back 2. But we'll take running back 7. Do it live. Let's see if I can plug this in and I'll show you guys the RB ranks right here. So these are the RB ranks as of this moment. Let me see if I can show you, because it's better to have it on screen as I talk about it. So here it is again. RB1, Zeke Elliott. RB2, Breece Hall.
To the moon.
RB3, James Cook. RB4, Joe Mixon. RB5, this is a specific scoring format. Everybody's scoring formats can be a little different. Eckler 5, Rachaad White 6, Bijan 7, Chase Brown.
To the moon.
Chase Brown 8. Javonte Williams 9. That was nice to see. ETN 10. Tony Pollard 11. Christian McCaffrey 12. This format's weird. Jahmyr Gibbs 13. So not what we wanted, but this is a pretty good day. Point being, Jahmyr Gibbs down there a little further than we wanted, but he still had a decent day. Kyren Williams, given the matchup, Kyren Williams had 114 yards. We just wanted a touchdown out of these guys. We flip over to wide receiver, Deebo Samuel. Deebo doing Deebo things. 34 points. Drake London. Looky here, reindeer. Who's that? That's Drake London. He's practically a celebrity on this show. Now, admittedly, a lot of us did sit him. I started him in like 3 or 4 leagues, but I did sit him in 2 or 3 leagues. It's hard to trust him. It's hard to trust Ritter. But in the leagues where he was in my lineup, we did it live.
To the moon.
Let's see here. DJ Moore, phenomenal day. Tough. Some of you had some tough questions. DJ Moore was involved in. Cooper Kupp, wide receiver 4. Garrett Wilson.
To the moon.
Doing it live. Garrett Wilson doing it live. Come on, man. Pick up.
Please leave your message after the tone.
Hey, man, it's Devontae Adams again. Call me back, bro.
In your eyes, the light that hit your eyes, incomplete your lives.
So, anyway, Garrett Wilson, Zay Flowers, Odell, Pittman, Lamb, Rashee Rice, and then quarterbacks. We had Lamar Jackson popping off, Stafford, Browning, Zappy, Fields. What a little day. Tight end. Tight end Ingram and Njoku had 2 touchdowns. It was a nice little day. It was a nice little fantasy football day. Jahmyr Gibbs, hopefully he continues to thrive. Okay, let's get to some of the negative stuff. The negative stuff here, Justin Jefferson got injured in this one. I see a few of you bickering in the chat just because you own him, Jimmy. Let's see, what did Jimmy say? Jimmy said, Jimmy, you know I love you, pal, but what is this? He hurt his chest, not his back. He's fine. Enough. Fake news, you all. LOL. He went to the hospital, Jimmy. He went to the hospital and was ruled out immediately. What do you mean fake news? What are you talking about, Jimmy? Jimmy, call in. Jimmy 2 times. Call in. We need to talk to you. What are we talking about? Tell me you own a player in 87 leagues without telling me you own a player. Jimmy, come on. Be objective here. When one of my players gets hurt that I have, I don't just pretend he's okay and say it's fake news. You want to be optimistic. You want to be an optimistic Oscar. You can be. And I appreciate that about you, Jimmy. But what are we talking about here, Jimmy 2 times? Jefferson chest has been ruled out for week 14. So essentially he got hit like, it looked like a back injury. It felt like a back injury. Went to the hospital. Chest was the injury. Was released from the hospital. And it sounds like, let me read this report here, so you guys can get a sense of what we're looking at walking into next week. The answer is we don't know. Vikings head coach Kevin O'Connell had a positive update on wide receiver Justin Jefferson's condition after Sunday's 3-0 win over the Raiders, which was probably the worst game I've ever seen in my entire 20-plus years of doing this as a professional fantasy football and NFL analyst. I've never seen a game so bad in my life. It was the worst game I've ever seen. It almost ended 0-0, which hasn't happened for well over 50 years. Jefferson returned from a long stretch on injured reserve, came back early to an early end when he suffered an injury in the second quarter. Jefferson was taken to the Las Vegas hospital for further evaluation, but O'Connell said in his post-game press conference that Jefferson has already been released and diagnosed with an internal chest injury. O'Connell said that Jefferson will travel home with the Vikings, which is good that he's getting on a plane. You know, that is one indication that there probably is potentially, you know, something that isn't going to, like, if there was some sort of like lung issue or they were really worried about him, I don't think they'd want him going up in elevation, etc. Pretty encouraged about the initial read on the injury. That's all we have. The update's garbage. The updates, you know, just there's probably more precaution than maybe not, but we still have no idea if he's playing next week. So to Jimmy's point about it being fake news, I mean, I don't know how you come to that conclusion, though, Jimmy. I don't get it. You can call in and discuss if you want. But this is a real thing. He was in the freaking hospital, bro. He did not return to the game. It was 2 quarters into his return. I think Jefferson owners have the right to be upset, and that's not callous or shallow to be worried about your fantasy team. I get so sick and tired of people saying, oh, you worry about your fantasy team over. Look, this is what we do. Injuries are a part of the game. Injuries are a part of the game, and these players know it too. Well, you can still have concern and throw prayer emojis up and have a prayer circle and say nice, kind things about JJ and hope he heals up and still be upset that your fantasy team doesn't have JJ on it. That pisses me off when people make you feel guilty because you can do 2 things at the same time. You can chew gum and walk at the same time. The fake news was dude saying he's out for the year. Oh, yeah. That is fake news. But why'd you say you all? Like, there's one guy that said that, and you said you. That's why I'm saying that you're overreacting, Jimmy, 2 times. Smitty taking shit out of context all the time. I mean, you said you all. You didn't say, hey, Bob, that said he's out for the year. No one in here is saying he's out for the year, but probably one person trolling. And so you painted it as if the community was saying that. So I didn't take anything out of context. You said something that clearly made it seem like multiple people in here, or the vibe in here was that JJ was out for the year. It was a fake news for a dude to say JJ. Yeah. Fake news for one guy, but not y'all, pal. All right, move on. Jefferson, we'll find out more. I don't know what to say at this point other than we're speculating. But certainly his week 15 has to be in question at least. Maybe he plays, though. This is another injury. Head coach Brandon Staley said Justin Herbert suffered a fractured finger in his throwing hand in the team's week 14 loss to the Broncos. There's a really good chance that Herbert is probably going to potentially be maybe even done for the year. Because what are they fighting for? Certainly not going to play this week, I would think. And then at that point, it's like, why would you rush him back? So I honestly don't know if you'll ever see Herbert again in 2023. But anything can happen. This could be very, very bad news for Keenan Allen. This could be maybe bad news or maybe just kind of like lowers the running back yard per carry average, but they get more totes, so it ends up being slightly beneficial to the rushing attack. Maybe Eckler gets more usage, but he'll certainly see a lot of defensive attention. So we'll have to see. Hang tight on the Herbert side. And all the players, this is similar to when Aaron Rodgers went down. How many people get affected by this? How many fantasy football assets are going to be affected by this situation? The answer is a ton. Because like Aaron Rodgers going down, you had Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall. It was a trickle effect. It was a cascading effect. Herbert going down, you've got Eckler. You've got the entire wide receiver room, but mainly Keenan Allen. Can't be Keenan Allen. He could be a watered-down version of Keenan Allen, but I certainly would not expect Keenan Allen to be the same player moving forward. So this is brutal news. Hopefully there's some sort of silver lining, but I don't think there will be because why would the team rush him back? This one right here, Josh Jacobs' knee is questionable to return to week 14. This is a report that occurred during the game. I screenshotted it so for a talking point to make sure I did not forget. Jacobs was injured in this game. We'll find out more tomorrow. Hang tight. Not good news. This team was absolutely awful, as was the Minnesota Vikings all game long. This thing almost ended in a tie and went to overtime in a 0-0 tie. It was unbelievable. It was the worst game I've ever seen in my entire life. And unfortunately, I watched every snap because I watch all the games. Find out about Jacobs later tomorrow probably, so hang tight on that. CJ Stroud in the concussion protocol. I don't know that he plays this week. We've seen players come back this week. It's more rare than not, but it seems like it's becoming a little less rare, and there's a possibility he plays. But without Nico Collins, maybe, because Nico suffered an injury as well, his calf injury, which I think if he plays on it, he's going to be running the risk of further injury, maybe an Achilles tear, et cetera, et cetera. So he better take it easy. Even if he plays, I'll be worried So he was ruled out for the remainder of the game really quickly early on. So Nico out. Noah Brown did nothing. CJ Stroud got hurt. This is falling apart really quickly for the Houston Texans. The future is still bright, but this has certainly been a very quick, very, very brutally quick unraveling in terms of fantasy football production. But I'll keep you posted on Stroud. We probably won't know anything about him playing week 15 until much further in the week. And my guess right now would be Stroud is out. My guess is that Nico's out. My guess is the Texans look at this as an opportunity to make sure they rest him and get him healthy. But we'll have to see. Anything's possible. Jake Browning left with a thumb injury in this game. Looked like all hope was lost again. And then he came back into the game. Was relatively solid in this game. 275, 2 touchdowns, 1 INT. What did I say about Browning? He could have a really good day. He could have a really good day and still throw a pick 6, which is why the Colts are a must-start defense. Colts pick 6 against Browning, his only INT. So the Colts defense did do well, and Browning did well at the same time. That's why fantasy football defensive plays shouldn't always come down to if the quarterback across from that defense is going to have a decent day. They certainly could still have a decent day if the defense is a playmaking conglomerate like the Colts defense is right now. So Browning got hurt, but he looks like he'll be okay. We got Stephon Diggs just dropping nothing. 4 of 11 for 24 yards. Who the hell knows what is going on inside this man's head? And will he rebound? Is he so inside his own head thinking he's so good still that he's causing a lot of these problems? We'll have to see how he rebounds. I still would bank on him, I'll be honest, but it's certainly getting harder and harder to believe he's going to be consistent, but I certainly would take a chance if I could buy at the right price if you're in some sort of weird league that lets you trade. Clyde Edwards-Helaire finished with a very disappointing 39 yards and 2 catches and 29 yards. Could have been worse, but it definitely wasn't what we wanted. Clyde Edwards-Helaire did not have that day we wanted him to have. Jamar Chase did not have a great day. 29 yards on 3 receptions. Even when Browning came back, it was still hard to see how this is going to be a consistent situation for him. But you think back to the week prior, and it's like, okay, he could be like this. It's just going to be the nature of these two with their rapport building. And, you know, Chase has been known to have duds and then explosions. Duds and explosions. So it's not really that off base from what Chase would do if Burrow was in there. Mahomes continues to disappoint. 1 touchdown, an interception, 25 of 43, 271. They looked lost in this game. I don't know if Mahomes is playing with an injury that's not being reported, which is really messed up because of all the bets and people counting on this from a financial perspective. But he doesn't look the same right now. It's absolutely crazy. The offense is off. They can't get any consistency. Some of it is that they don't have a wide receiver. They should have went after DeAndre Hopkins, but they didn't. But we'll find out, more if there's anything lingering with Mahomes. I don't know. Would I sit him? It depends on who you have. But would I sit him for a quarterback that you're not drafting anywhere near him? Like I'm talking like Howell or someone like am I going to sit Mahomes for Joe Flacco, who exploded in week 14? No, I'm not. Am I going to sit him for maybe a quarterback that's more like the 5, 6, 7 range? Maybe. It just depends on your situation. But if you have Mahomes, you have to almost just push all your chips in at this point. You can't be playing. You got to hope he bounces back. And if he doesn't, you'll probably never draft him again. But there's certain situations where you would bench him, and there's very, very many more where you wouldn't. Okay, depends on who you have. You'd have to run it by me. Noah Brown held without a catch. What a disappointing blunder fest this week 14 was for the Houston Texans team. Devontae Adams, very disappointing. I mean, 7 receptions was nice. 53 yards. So, having like a plus, 10-point game was nice, but he could have and should have had a bigger day. How are you going to have a good day when it's 0-0 almost to the end of the game and somebody wins 3-0? Just awful situation right now. Laporta, and this is my fear about if they get banged up. Jacobs is banged up. What's Jacobs going to be thinking about the next couple weeks? my long-term value, my contract, my body. I'm getting older every day. Running backs take a beating. Jacobs, who knows if he comes back? I think he's a competitive guy, but he could. One of these guys, Adams or Jacobs, has been my fear all offseason and all end season. One or both of them are going to sit out like weeks 15, 16, 17, just to protect their bodies, to get ready for the offseason, to get ready for contracts, to get ready for requesting a trade for Adams, etc. Laporta, 2 of 6 for 23 yards. Big disappointment game out of Sam Laporta, but don't fret. He's going to be unbelievable. Just like Amon-Ra St. Brown, 21 yards. You can't look at this as like you need to take action. You own him, you're starting him. Like sitting St. Brown or Laporta would be just absolutely a ridiculous decision. This man continues to look like Devon Achane, but they don't give him the ball. And this is frustrating. This man averages freaking 10 yards per carry, rushed the ball 9 times for 54 yards. He was ripping off his 4 first carries, 10 yards a pop. And they keep him dialed back. It's so frustrating. 54 yards. Looked phenomenal every time he touched the football. Keep Mitchell to the moon, but I don't know that they're going to send him. He's a crafty flex play, but very high risk, as shown by today's output. Zach Moss, very disappointing. 13 totes, 28 yards, 4 catches for 28 yards. He completely crapped the bed. Charbonnet had, 9 carries for 44 yards. Drake London, 172 and 10 receptions. Super excited about that one. Drake London to the freaking moon. Let's send him there.
To the moon.
He lives there. He's taking a shuttle back home right now as we speak. Garrett Wilson, $108 on 9 receptions. Love me some Garrett Wilson. We just wish he had consistent quarterback play all year, but Zach Wilson was feeding him, and he played fantastic in this one. So Zach Wilson deserves his flowers a little bit just for feeding the guys that we need him to feed. So you have JJ on one side and Adams on the other, says David. I don't know what that means, but appreciate you, David. Okay, Zay Flowers, 6 for 10, 60 yards and a touchdown. He was very solid in this one. Very, very solid. We got so many players to talk about. ETN 14 times for 35 yards. He ran the ball. And a touchdown was effective, solid. It was a good day. Travis Kelce, 83 yards on 6 receptions. Not a very, very exciting day. We talked about Austin Eckler, 51 yards and 1 touchdown. Had a good, solid day. Eckler bounced back to a degree, caught some balls, obviously. Javonte Williams, 68 yards and 1 touchdown. He did his thing. This is one to watch. Alexander Madison suffered a sprained ankle. Very likely that Ty Chandler gets to start. Ty Chandler will be on the waiver wire show as one of the top pickups of the week, as will this guy, 25 yards, but also on the ground, but also adding 3 receptions for 80 yards and a touchdown, ripping off a long touchdown reception. Chase Brown to the freaking moon. Chris Olave scored a touchdown and had 28 yards. Could have been a better day, but the touchdown definitely was nice and salvaged his day. Montgomery, very pedestrian, 10 carries for 66 yards. Definitely could have been a better day for him. McKinnon was the better start. We worried about this because Andy Reid making us think that Clyde's a starter. McKinnon 4 times. He rushed the ball 19 yards and a touchdown. He also pulled in 18 yards on 3 receptions. Not the most amazing day, but it's definitely better than Clyde's. And he's probably the better starter for any reason. You need to start one of the KC backs and Pacheco sits out. Baker Mayfield, 144 yards and 2 touchdowns. One went to Mike Evans, but his elbow was touching the line. It was an unbelievable attempt by Mike Evans to catch that touchdown pass. But Mike Evans had a touchdown that was overturned. Trevor Lawrence completed 20, or just reviewed. Trevor Lawrence completed 28 of 50 passes, 257 and 3 touchdowns, but he also had 3 INTs. So depending on your scoring, if INTs hit you -1, then not a big deal. He had a good day. If INTs are minus 85 points apiece, then you're in some trouble. So it just depends on your scoring, whether T-Law did very well for you or just mediocre. But looked good considering what he was dealing with. Kenneth Walker ran the ball 8 times for 54 yards. Looked really elusive. Added 4 receptions for 33 yards. And he just looked really good in this considering the situation. But, of course, the volume wasn't necessarily there to make his stat line look as good as he looked at times. But I was really pleased with what I saw. And my takeaway from this week with Kenneth Walker was that if this man was on another team, if he was on another team, he would be an absolute monster. And it's a little bit depressing that he's not on a better team. I love him. I love him. I think Kenneth Walker is one of the most elusive running backs, as I said at the top of the show, running backs in the National Football League. He's an unbelievable talent. He's an unbelievable talent with an ability to navigate into open space and matriculate down the football field and keep his team and the offense moving the chains. I just wish they used him properly. Joe Flacco was amazing today. 311 yards and 3 touchdowns and an interception. And, it's like this offense can move the ball with him. I'm not saying he'll stay healthy. I'm not saying he's any sort of a miracle worker, but he'll continue to put this offense in at least a decent position and let the defense try and win the game. And so Ford's still a good start. Hunt's still a decent flex play. You got to start, wide receivers if you're in need on that team. It's just, just unbelievable to see a man throw for that kind of production when he's been completely written off. And I was just amazed watching Flacco do his thing. And you do wonder why in the hell, teams like the Jets didn't bring him in or bring him back. It's probably pretty painful to watch. But Robert Saleh probably thinks that Zach Wilson is still the best thing since sliced bread. And so, but Browns winning that game was crazy. They're 8-5. The Jaguars are 8-5. Jerome Ford carried the ball 12 times for 51 yards. And Njoku had 2 touchdowns and 91 yards. We'll get to him in a second. Amari Cooper had 77 yards on 7 catches, and Elijah Moore had 3 receptions for 42 yards. David Bell had 1 catch for 41 yards and a touchdown, and that's all I got to say about that. Justin Fields, 19 of 33, 233 yards and a touchdown. He also ran the ball pretty well, 58 yards and a touchdown on the ground. So it was a pretty good day for Justin Fields. And, it's good. It's a good sign that Justin Fields is having some solid production. And you know what? One of the most exciting topics of the offseason is going to be, where's Justin Fields going to be playing football in 2024? That will be probably our most exciting offseason potential movement. And depending on how he finishes, he could remain in Chicago. But as of a couple weeks ago, the odds of him being in freaking Chicago in 2024 were slim to none. And now I would say, depending on his finish, he could definitely be potentially in the mix of the Chicago Bear plans moving forward. But we'll have to see. I think they're very much interested in finding another quarterback in the draft, but it will depend on, Fields' finish. Christian McCaffrey rushed 16 times for 145 in this 49er lambasting over the Seahawks. And it's crazy he didn't score because 145 yards gets you, 14.5 points. And that doesn't even get you a top 5 running back spot. So it's crazy to see somebody have this kind of line and be like, wow, he's not even a top 5 running back. But that's the nature of a touchdown. That's the nature of PPR. He did catch, something. Let me pull up McCaffrey's receiving numbers because I don't know why they don't throw that in this thing right here, this clipping. But McCaffrey pulled in, let's see here. I think he had something along the lines of like 1 or 2 catches, 8 yards, 1 catch for 8 yards. So basically just about about 15 points or so, depending on your scoring format. But McCaffrey still looked like a monster. Very, very good game. Rashee Rice having what we expected, 70 yards and a touchdown. I think we said 65 and a touch. He just feels very steady, but the 7 receptions and PPR made this guy have a very, very solid day. 7 receptions, 70 yards. That's 14 points right there. You add in a touchdown. This guy was scoring around 20 points in most scoring formats. Phenomenal day for Rashee Rice. He continues to be Mahomes' favorite target. Josh Allen, 23 of 42, gets the win, and the fact that I was rooting for this win because I'm not a big Chief fan at all. I like Mahomes. I root for Mahomes. I like Kelsey. I root for Kelsey, but I am more of a Buffalo supporter than a KC supporter, and I'm rooting for Josh Allen to get a playoff spot. And this win helped keep their playoff hopes alive to a major degree. And Josh Allen going 23 of 42 for 233 with a touchdown. He had an interception, but getting that traditional rushing touchdown with 32 yards made him have a very, very, very solid day. And I think he's going to be a savior potentially for fantasy owners down the stretch because he's going on a playoff hunt. And I think he's going to ball out. I think the Bills are going to try and surprise everybody. There are a lot of Bill haters, and I don't think this team is beyond the point of being fixed. They won this game. They're motivated. I think Diggs can be revived value-wise. I think Kincaid can break through this little rookie wall that he is still seemingly in. And I think this team starts to fire on all cylinders. And maybe they don't make the playoffs. Maybe they do. But I think Josh Allen and the boys will start scoring tons of points trying. And that's all that we care about at the end of the day. The more involved he is, the more excited he is to try and win a playoff spot, the better he's going to do and the more he's going to do in the later weeks. So you're rooting for the Bills to win if you're a Josh Allen owner or a Buffalo Bill fantasy owner. Brock Purdy completed 19 of 27, 368, 2 touchdowns, 1 INT. Continues to look really, really solid. That offense is just so amazing. Again, not taking anything away from Brock because you can't take away a situation from player, but he does have the best offense that a player could ask for. And it's very, very fitting for his style too, which is fantastic. And he's a really sharp kid. Like, to pick up this system the way that he did when he was first forced into the lineup last year was unbelievable. Am I ready to make him the league MVP yet? No. I think people are getting a little ahead of themselves, but I think that he's certainly in the conversation. You know, and that doesn't have to be because he's the most talented running quarterback in the National Football League. You don't have to be the most talented to win the MVP. He's very valuable to his team. I would say the problem with him being the league MVP, though, in my opinion, is that McCaffrey's more valuable than him to the offense. Deebo's probably equally as valuable to him to the offense. So it's hard to make him, but because he's a quarterback, he's far more likely to be the league MVP than, let's say, Christian McCaffrey. But, man, if the Niners keep playing the way they are and they win out and they keep dominating, I think he'll definitely be one of the favorites to win the MVP. David Njoku caught 6 of 8 targets for 91 yards and 2 touchdowns in the Browns' Week 14 win over the Jaguars. He's really, I mean, look, there are certain quarterbacks that come in and they target and have a rapport with a certain player. And I think it's pretty safe to say that Flacco loves this man, David Njoku. I think they got bunk beds, they push them together, more room for activities, and they practice these plays in the dormitory. And it's like David Njoku, Joe Flacco down the hallway, 11 o'clock at night. These guys are tossing the pigskin together, and they're making sure they're ready for game day. And I don't think it really stops. I'm not saying this kind of line is something to expect, but I do think this is a product of what's going on in that offense, and you need to ride it out. Evan Ingram, 11 of 12 targets, 11 receptions, 95 yards and 2 touchdowns. He had a day. He had depending on the scoring format, he had like a 30 to 40 point scoring fest on his hands in this week. I think it was like 34, 35 points in one of my leagues. He was absolutely phenomenal. And Trevor Lawrence loves this guy. He continues to play well. He's a top 5 tight end lock going forward. Phenomenal job. DJ Moore, we talked about that, 68 yards and a touchdown, but he had the 20 yards on the ground on 3 carries and an additional touchdown. DJ Moore scored 2 tutties, was absolutely phenomenal. Lamar Jackson, unbelievable day, 24 of 43, 316 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Absolute phenom in this game, and that's the nature of Lamar. He'll be hot and cold, hot and cold. One game will be huge, the next game could be, a mistake-riddled type of outing, but you got to start him. He's a must-play. He's a top 5-6 play every single week at the quarterback position. Bijan Robinson, 10 times. All he got was 10 carries. It's frustrating, but look what he did with it. Running back number 7. on the week, and he only had 10 carries, 34 yards, and a touchdown. Scoring was amazing. I was ecstatic when he punched that in. I put it on my Instagram. I was super thrilled about it. And then he added 5 receptions for 54 yards. He is an absolute yardage machine if you allow him to be. And Arthur Smith continues to get enabled when he wins and Ritter does well, that his usage of Bijan's proper. And it's not proper. And Arthur Blank probably calls up Arthur Smith and says, hey, Arthur. Yes, Arthur. Hey, great job today. Keep it up. Oh, keep using the players the way that I am? Well, you keep winning, so I would say so. It's frustrating. But at least Bijan's getting work and fed and production. And at the end of the day, you know, this is better than the alternative, what we saw earlier in the year. So let's just hope for more. It wasn't a 2 TD day. I don't know if we can say that Lego Batman truly found him, but I think we can probably release him from the bat signal and feel like Bijan did get on track again. Bijan was found. We'll take him off, but Lego Batman really crapped the bed on Devontae Adams this week. Lego, you're going to have to make it up to us. Devontae Adams was not found. He did okay. He had, 7 receptions. I think he had like 12 points. I mean, that wasn't horrible, but definitely didn't feel like you had found him. Ayuk, 6 of 9, 126. Good day. Very good day for Ayuk. Could have been better because there were a couple plays that he should have had, or he also fumbled once, but Rachaad White, phenom, 25 totes, 102. This is why this man was on the Moonman list last year. He's a Moonman graduate from 2022 because he's one of the best pass catchers in the National Football League. His situation is a lot better than I thought it would be too. So what a great player to own right now. Adding 2 receptions for 33 yards and an additional touchdown. So he is just a unbelievable player right now, or not additional touchdown. 33 yards and a touchdown through the air, 25 carries for 102. So he had the 1 score. But Rachaad White, unbelievable RB to own right now. Definitely a high-end running back too. Some would say higher than that, but I think he's definitely in that high-end running back 2 status right now. Pittman continues to do steady Eddie type stuff. 8 for 95, fantastic job for Michael Pittman. As I admitted last week, I think he is much more deserving of my respect. So far, you know, this year he's been proving himself to bounce back from last year's disappointing year. Matthew Stafford, I saw someone say he's on a heater. He damn straight is on a heater. 23 of 41, 294, 3 touchdowns. He just continues to do it. Matthew Stafford is unbelievable right now, and the offense is humming. This guy right here, Alvin Kamara, I don't know about you, but I have him in about 90% of my leagues. My best ball ownership, he's in like the 70th percentile of ownership. Alvin Kamara continues to help us win leagues and clinch playoff seeds. This is unbelievable what this guy's doing this year. Unbelievable.
Alvin Kamara, a menace on the field and in casino elevators everywhere.
Run. Don't forget to Kamara that like button.
Just unbelievable. Alvin Kamara is just a monster. And he continues to do it. He continues to do it, and he continues to do it live. And so 12 totes for 56 yards and a touchdown, and 3 receptions for minus 11 yards. We'll let that one go. But definitely a good day. I wish he had more, but it was a solid day considering. Cortland Sutton loves touchdowns. I just wanted to tell you all that. I don't know if you know that, but this guy just loves grabbing these. Russell Wilson will throw this raindrop into the end zone because he still is an accurate thrower. And it's just like it's right where Sutton needs it to be. And Sutton's one of the best jump ball, touchdown hauling in wide receivers in the league, whether we want to feel like he's not the safest start every week. He's like that I don't know, you almost feel dirty about putting him in your lineup because it's like he feels like a second-rate fantasy football player. But he's not. He continues to do it. He's got like 10, 11 touchdowns on the year. I think 10, 62 yards and a touchdown. He just continues to score touchdowns. I don't know. I mean, is he an elite wide receiver 3 going forward? He's kind of got to be. It shouldn't feel so wrong to put him in your lineup, but It is what it is. And this guy right here, this Marvel. Now, his fantasy line puts him like outside the top 8, 9, even maybe 10 running backs in most scoring formats because he didn't have a lot of receiving yards. He didn't have a touchdown. He had 3 receptions for a -1 yard. So he had a little less than, technically how your scoring works, a little less than 3 points in PPR work. But he had the 114 yards on 25 totes. He's just unbelievable. This matchup was tough. Imagine what he's going to do in weeks 15, 16, and 17 for you. This is a top 5 running back, Kyren Williams, moving forward. We knew it. It's going to be so exciting. And I don't know, just a fun topic of conversation talking about where we rank this guy next season. I can't wait to see his ADP. I'm excited because I don't even know where I'm going to rank him yet. I love this kid, Kyren. I loved him coming out. I was super high on him as a rookie. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to admit to you the actual pecking order of my support and falling off of support for Kyren. When he was drafted his rookie year, I had so much content on this guy saying he was going to take Akers' job. He was a fantastic running back. He was one of my biggest deep sleepers his rookie year, and that he was going to take the job from Cam Akers. And everybody's like, no, he's not. This is my guy. He ended up getting hurt. And I admittedly, and I regret it, I admittedly didn't push him too much in the offseason. But as soon as we started to see him pop off, man, I've been on board ever since, and I absolutely love this guy. He's been one of the best buy low players. Even when he was injured, he was a fantastic buy low because people weren't sure what they were going to get when they're coming back. But it is the reason I tell you the story about me liking him and then, coming into the season not feeling like he had a lot of positioning until they made the release of Cam Akers, and then everything started to explode. But this guy has so much ability and quickness and vision, and he's just the real deal. I wouldn't be shocked if he was a top 15 overall pick in 2024 fantasy football drafts. I saw someone say third rounder. I saw somebody say I think it was like second. I wouldn't even be shocked if he's a top 12 overall pick in 20. A lot depends on how he finishes. If he finishes with 110 yards and 2 touchdowns in week 15, 125 yards and a touchdown in week 16, and let's say 95 yards and a touchdown in week 17. And let's just say they don't make the playoffs and the Rams, whatever the case may be, they're obviously trying to grab a wild card spot. That could determine a lot too, because you're going to see him play longer. But man, I just don't know where I'm gonna rank this kid. I just don't know. I don't know if he's gonna be in my top 12. I don't know if he's gonna be in my top 15. I don't know if he's gonna be in my top 8 overall. It really just depends on how he finishes. But as of this moment right now, top 15. Kyren 114, absolute monster.
He's Kyren. He's 7 feet tall, and he knows how to handle a ball. He's Kyren, he can take frowns and turn them upside down with his touchdowns.
Unbelievable. Kyren to the moon. Kyren's a monster, the man, the myth, the legend. We're almost getting to these 4 super chats that are sitting there. Isaiah Likely caught 5 balls for 83 yards and a touchdown. Very good player. Always liked the man. Glad he's getting an opportunity to shine, and let's ride. James Cook, 10 totes for 58 yards while adding 5 catches for 83 yards and a touchdown. What a day for James Cook. What a day for James Cook. Let's see here. HN number 1 2024 says, Brandon, I don't hate your take, Brandon. I don't hate your take whatsoever. HN to the freaking moon.
Devon HN, please report to your shuttle to Saturn. Your shuttle is leaving. Prepare for departure. Touchdown probability high.
I think we're all caught up. That was a lot of news. That was a lot of news to cover. Lewis with the first super chat of the evening. Lewis. First super chat always gets a standing ovation. That was an old graphic. I have JJ and JT with a bye week 15. What should I expect from these guys? I have JJ and JT with a bye week in week 15. What should I expect from these guys? I don't know. I think JJ maybe misses a week, but we don't know yet. I'm speculating, and we don't know. There's a chance he plays. There's a chance he sits. I call it 50-50 at this point. So I think he'll be okay in a week from now with JJ. But what are we getting with JJ? I don't know. Who's the quarterback? How's JJ going to do? Is he going to be mediocre anyway? I don't know. JT, I feel like, might have a chance of coming back this week. We'll find out. We have to wait, hang tight. He could be a week away. It could be, no time at all away. So JT, we'll have to see. I wish I could tell you, but I'm guessing at this time, at this point. And that's my guess. It's very vague. We just got to wait for the news, Lewis. I appreciate your super chat. It's a great question. I think we'll have a lot of answers for you tomorrow, at least some better answers, at least some better predictions tomorrow. So please watch the show tomorrow. 8 leagues, 8 playoff berths. Listen to Smitty. Let's freaking go. DeBalt's in all 8 of his leagues playoffs. That's amazing. DeBalt, congratulations, bro. That's awesome. $10 hauler from Matt. Matt, my boy.
To the moon.
Matt to the moon. Matt says, you're the man, Smitty. Thanks for guiding me to the 2 seed. Allen, CD, Kupp, Kamara, Achane, Laporta, Metcalf, Cooper, Javonte, JT to the moon. That's unbelievable, bro.
You've just been Smitty approved.
That's an amazing team, Matt. Appreciate your $10 hauler, and the pleasure is all on this side of the table, bro. Appreciate you. $10 hauler, another 10.
To the moon.
Always gets a moonshot when you get a $10 hauler on the board. I remember saying before the season that Judy would be better than London. I was wrong. Appreciate you, Smitty. You're the best. Achane for 50 fantasy points tomorrow. Look, I wish I was more right on London, meaning he did this all year, and I don't know if he'll continue it. I hope he does. I feel good about it, but I mean, he's crapped the bed many times this year. So it's like I wish I could sit here and pretend this is a victory lap for London, but London's been very shitty, and he feels good now. Like things feel really good now. Things feel really good with London. Things feel really good with Javonte. Things feel really good with Garrett Wilson. These are a lot of Moonmen that have struggled at big spurts this year. But yeah, I mean, I appreciate this. I just wish London was more consistent. I wish I earned this more with the London comment, because I honestly don't feel that I can say it with a straight face that, yeah, we called London. London's been shitty. But I'm so excited to see London doing what we thought he'd do all year, and his 850 or 800 yard Underdog fantasy hires looking pretty good right now. London to the freaking moon. London's amazing. He's an amazing player. He's a phenomenal player, and I just hope they continue to feed him and feed him well. All right, very quick session of phone calls. That was a lot to go over. I'm sure some of you have a few questions, and I would love to help you real quickly. I don't know how long we'll be here tonight on the phone call segment, but we'll certainly take care of some of you. 462 of you in here, and only 109 of you have hit that thumb up button. So please punch the thumb up button for your boy. Hit it, do it live. Let's get that 109 to like 250 or something. We got 470 people in here. I think we can take care of 250 thumbs up. Kyron, oh no, Superfish says even Kyle Pitts caught a touchdown today. Yeah, there was a lot of good fantasy football production. London owners like myself like him. He's easy to predict. Sit him if he's injured, face the Jets, or doesn't have Ritter. Says Ethan. Okay, Ethan. Sebastian, you're live.
Hey, how you doing? First, I wanted to say thank you for your help all season. I walked into playoffs on an 8-win streak, going 12-2 on the year. Nice. But I do find myself a little bit worried because I have JT and JJ going into playoffs in a format that has no bye. Should I be expecting them to hit big in week 16, 17 if I make it that far? Or I don't know. What's your take on that?
I mean, I just answered this. I don't know if you heard me. A guy asked me that same exact question, only he does have a bye. And I just said that JT, I don't know what's in store for him. Feels like he should be back. like ASAP here. JJ, we're completely guessing at this point. Nobody has a single clue. He was in the hospital tonight. I don't know that anybody. I know Jimmy Two-Time was getting all upset because somebody said something in the chat about, and Jimmy, you're welcome to call in and discuss what we're talking about. And somebody said he's out for the year, and Jimmy's like, you all are fake news, talking about a lot of, there was just one guy, he was just trolling. He's not out for the year. No one knows what's going on with JJ, but I would say he's, at this point, 50-50 to play this coming week. I don't know. And in that, bro, do I think JJ's a top 10 wide receiver with that wide receiver or that quarterback situation in Minnesota? And your team,
probably a 2.
Yeah, I mean, the team scored 3 points. They barely scored any points at all. I don't know. I don't know that
That's with Addison, with Hawkinson too. So it's like,
I don't know. And as for JT, can he stay healthy? It's probably very good news that Zach Moss didn't explode. But I can't give you a really good assessment. I just don't know. Kevin just became a YouTube exclusive. Kevin, appreciate you. I just don't know, bro, to be honest with you. I think I'll have some better guesstimations by maybe tomorrow or the next day what JT's looking like and what he's looking like this week and what JJ's looking like for the year on top of his availability. So just give me until like midday and I bet we have a sense on at least one of these guys. A little bit better sense at least.
And I have something unofficial on Herbert. We have a source out here in LA. He said that he's like most likely done for the year, but again, that is an unofficial source, but it also does make sense.
Well, that's what I said at the top of the show, so that source is me. I think that it's all speculative. I honestly think the source is speculating, but the speculation is based off of a lot of logic. The fact that this team I don't think that stuff's being released. You know what I mean? I think that a lot of insiders have a lot of good people that are connected to the team that are also speculating, and also a lot of people try and make a name for themselves predicting something very predictable. And that's probably the most logical take, right? When you think about it logically, what do they have to fight for? He's most likely out at least 1 week. And what are you going to do? Rush him back? This guy's been riddled with injuries the last 2 years. Last year, he was super injured. And so the last thing you want to do is
playoff spot.
Yeah, you want to run him out there and get him hurt. So there's a very good chance he sits for the season. But he's a competitive guy. It could be up to him, and maybe he says, I want to play. So we'll have to play it by ear. What I'm worried about is next year. Like, Keenan Allen will be a year older. They aren't putting, Eckler's going to be a year older. Eckler already dropped off, and I do think he has enough gas left in the tank to at least have 2 out of the next 3 games as good games, one of them being great. I think that's in the cards for Eckler. Just like Cooper Kupp, I think, has enough gas in the tank to deliver potentially 3 really good performances. 1 or 2 would be great. And then it's like next year, I don't know that we're drafting Cooper Kupp at all. I don't know that we're drafting JT at all. I don't know that we're drafting, any of these guys that are.
Tyreek too, because I think he's 29 right now.
Yeah, but Tyreek, we're gonna give another year. There's no way I'm writing Tyreek off next year based on.
Fall off too.
There's certainly there's always gonna be, everyone's gonna laugh, just like you say. Eckler is going to drop off this year like I did. He was one of my biggest avoids in the offseason. Show after show after show. Don't draft Eckler. Don't draft Eckler. Don't draft Eckler. And it got a lot of pushback, bro. Because at that moment, he's a stud. So nobody wants to hear it. At some point, Tyreek will fall off. But I don't know that you want to bet on that being next year. I think the next year will be a big concern. Or maybe mid-season you trade him just to be safe, but I think it would be a bad take to avoid him this coming August when you could at least ride the wave for half a season, and if you wanted to bail early or something, you could. But injuries are crazy. Everybody's getting older. The changing of the guard's kind of happening. It's already kind of happened in a lot of ways, but It'll be a fun offseason. All right, Sebastian, I got to jump to the other callers. Appreciate you, bro.
Appreciate it.
Ethan the Negative, go. You're live. You got 30.
Smitty, you were right about Taysom Hill, but like I said, keep your composure. We're in. I made the playoffs with the 6th seed.
You keep your composure.
What do you think if Achane? You should do an edit. If Achane goes off, do like that Justin Fields edit, where you're like, good night. But if he does bad, then you got to do like a David Wong nightmare edit.
I only do positive Achane edits because the man only does positive things.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun to see. I mean, a Tyreek game or Achane. I got the Tyreek team playing the Achane team, and so I'm really interested in seeing how it goes.
It's gonna be fun. What was the logic behind the 2 Monday night games? What am I forgetting?
I don't know. It's dumb to me.
I don't know. I'm kind of enjoying that.
Stuff out.
I'm kind of excited about it.
I like a game every day, like Saturday games, Friday games.
But I think it's gonna be exciting. But what a great little football experience tomorrow is gonna be. I'm gonna have both games up. It's gonna be amazing. I'm excited about it. All right, I appreciate you, bro. Later.
Have a good one. Thanks,
Chris.
Bye.
What's up, Chris? Chris, what?
Chris from Vegas or just Chris?
Chris from Vegas, yeah. What's
okay,
up?
so I didn't want to overcut nobody. My bad.
What's up, man?
Yeah, I just wanted to get pick your brain on the subject of the Chiefs. Do you think they're just having a down year based on personnel, or do you think it's based on what we saw after the game, but with Mahomes and everything? Do you think it's something going on behind the scenes?
Well, let me put it this way. I do not think it's long-term. Mahomes is one of the best quarterbacks to ever play the game. Josh Allen's had down years. That happens, man. Aaron Rodgers has had his share of, ridiculously disappointing endings and bad years. I think what it is, and Reed's unbelievable. Let's not... Anybody that's going to knee-jerk react to one season doesn't understand football. You know what I mean? But... The real question is, can they turn it around this year? It doesn't feel like it. It feels like whatever's going on is going to linger into the offseason. But Andy Reid's amazing at changing directions and figuring things out in the offseason. And, I remember when they signed Mahomes to his 10-year deal, they everybody and their mother reported all over. Every report everywhere is the Chiefs will never sign another player again. Their offensive line's garbage. How are they going to protect Mahomes? They'll never be able to even sign a new offensive line. Within a year, they had one of the best offensive lines revamped. It's so Andy Reid's a miracle worker with that stuff. So he'll figure it out. But as for this season, I think we got to expect that either we hear that Mahomes is hurt or something's going on. But the problem is, if they don't bring in more talent, it won't get fixed right away because Kelsey's probably at the point where he's dropping off. Right. And while I still think Kelsey could have a really good final 3 weeks, there were some times where he looked good tonight. He's getting older. And even if he looks great when he's on the field, Kelsey's probably not staying healthy going forward. I'm not saying he's injured for the season in week 1 or something like that. You can't predict that stuff. But is he going to start missing 2, 3, 4 games a year on out? Absolutely feel like that's what's going on with Kelsey moving forward. I will not draft Kelsey in round 1 next year. I will, depending on who they bring in. They should have brought in Hopkins in the offseason, the Chiefs, and they didn't. But
I was surprised they didn't do it in season trade. Try to get Hopkins.
He was available. He was a free agent.
Exactly.
He was a free agent. They should have brought him in. They didn't. Hopkins was visiting with Tennessee. Remember the whole thing where the Tennessee Titans visit, the limo driver put up a photo of Hopkins inside the limo on the screen, and then somebody, reported on it, and we thought maybe that was the sign that he was posting that he was signing there, and that was a graphic that someone had worked on or something when it was just the limousine driver, and he was trying to use that to bait other teams to maybe up their offers. And it was an exciting time. I love the offseason. I can't wait. I don't know if were you here? You weren't here during the offseason, right?
No, this will be my first off season, but I got to admit, I'm excited for it.
Yeah, the off season is so much better than the in season because it's like there's more live streams. I'm live a lot more. There's more content, and then the buzz behind everything is phenomenal. We'll be on here for like an hour and a half talking about a piece of breaking news. You know, where's Barkley going to be, or is Adams going to get traded, or is Fields going to be? I might do a show randomly on one piece of news that breaks that says that, hey, according to a report, the Bears are more likely to draft a quarterback than to go to Justin. Boom, we go live. And it's not just because of that report. Sometimes we shoot down the report, but I'll go live whenever news breaks to either shoot it down, support it, give my own take, and we'll talk about Fields for an hour and a half about where he's going to go. Where would he go? You know, it's just, I love the offseason. I can't wait.
And then last question. I know it's still super early, but what's your opinion or your guess on the next Panthers coach?
I don't know, man. That's a little early for that. I just think
I'm just trying to look for the future because that's all I can look to anymore.
Yeah. Who's the worst team? And it's not like you don't have talent that, you know, could be cultivated there, but I don't know if Bryce Young feels like he's transitioning, and that, I don't know. It's too early to judge him, but he does have some weapons, and I don't know, man. I just don't know how I feel about him. I'm really hopeful for you, but this could be a one more year of trying it, and then you got to look for another quarterback, and then it's a whole long process. But I don't know how I feel about Bryce Young. Admittedly, I liked Bryce Young in the offseason. He was the quarterback that I thought had the smarts and the potential to be the best QB of the class. I didn't love his landing spot. I think if his landing spot, yeah, I think if he had landed in Houston, I like, wouldn't it be amazing to like go back in time, force him to go to Houston and Stroud to go to Carolina? I think if that happened, and this is a game that no one can play this game. It's a fun game to speculate on. I do it all the time. I speculate on it all the time. But what would have been? You know, would Bryce Young be doing amazing things in Houston? Or would he have crapped the bed, and would Stroud be playing pretty damn well in Carolina? And, you know, like, is it the nurture versus nature, or nature versus nurture? Is it the situation for Stroud more than it is his talent? Is it his talent more than it is his situation? I don't know. We'll have to see. But crazy week 14. Hopefully you're in your playoffs.
I'm in the playoff. I'm right on the cusp of the playoffs in the league that I'm in with you. So let's see what happens.
All right, man. Appreciate you.
I appreciate you. You have a good one.
Later. Mars, man, rock out. You're live.
Yeah, I know it's early, but what's your feeling on Kincaid?
I just think he's in a rookie wall. I do not think he's like dropped off to the point where he can't bounce back. Also, keep in mind, like, Diggs isn't doing anything. You know, it's like, it's not, Kincaid's making great catches and everything. So he's in like a rookie wall of sorts, but I think it's more so just the offense right now. But I think Kincaid definitely could pop off again. It also wouldn't shock me if he didn't do a ton consistently. Sorry, I had to yawn. I'm so tired.
How about with Knox being there?
I wouldn't be shocked if he didn't do a ton consistently until next season, and it's just like, that's the nature of some rookie tight ends, you know. But I do think his future is bright. I think Diggs, you know, if Diggs is elsewhere next year, which is another huge amount of live streaming we're going to be doing around that topic. Good God. What's going to happen? Who are they going to bring in? Kincaid's going to have to become a big, vital part of that passing attack. So his 2024 is going to be unreal value-wise. But I don't know what to make of him. I probably wouldn't bench him, but it depends on who you have. Like, let's say you have an Otten. I know Otten played well, and you know he's a good player. I wouldn't fault anybody for starting Otten over Kincaid right now, but I probably would still keep starting Kincaid, and then Kincaid pops off. I'm going to be like, hell yeah, but you're running a risk. Would I sit like, you know, Ingram for him? No, I'd be playing Ingram over Kincaid right now, to be honest and fair. But I still think Kincaid's in the top 7 to 10 for sure. All right, rock out. Hang tight. If you got anything else, call back in.
Oh, and then apparently you and Ron were right about the defenses this week. Colts and Steelers.
Me and Ron were right.
You were like wrong and right at the same time because you thought the Colts were gonna have a good day, and then he thought the Steelers were gonna have a good day, but they have like an average day.
Well, Colts scored a pick 6. I mean, they didn't do that bad, did they? I mean, what did they do in your scoring format? I feel like the Colts 6 point. I feel like the Colts had a good day. What's your scoring format? Colts for me had I guess 7 or 8. Yeah, I mean not horrible, but
they gave up too many points.
Yeah, the Steelers are. It's not the Steelers' defense's fault. It's just that they're tired and the offense is putrid. But the Colts still did decent. I mean, 7 points isn't bad. I got 7 and 1 in this league right here. All right, rock out. Anything else?
That's it for right now. I'll call back.
All right, later, rock out. Appreciate you, bro.
Cool.
Rock out to the moon. Jake from Tampa, you're live. You got 30.
Hey, Smitty. I started Mike Evans and Jefferson today, but I'm still on track to do 150 points, which is kind of crazy. Yeah, Evan Ingram came in big for me.
Sweet, bro.
Yeah, and I still got Tua and Tyreek tomorrow night. But I was wondering how you feel about Evans. Bad week, but he's been playing really well. Just want to know if you're concerned about him at all.
Not at all. He had a touchdown. It just didn't. It just didn't count.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but that defense was like triple covering him.
Yeah,
it
was triple covering him. He still grabbed a touchdown pass where his elbow was like millisecond touch before his second foot did. Like if they didn't have slow motion and then replay, that would have been a different potential story. But like I still love Mike Evans, bro. Evans is a wide receiver 1. I guess my question to you would be, what would make you even ask that question when he's been blowing up all year? In a sense, almost grabbed a touchdown in triple coverage, and what's even got you concerned? Because he didn't deliver one day.
No, it's just a lot. I'm in Tampa, so there's a lot of noise about Godwin not getting his targets and stuff, and of course this is the week where Godwin's targets just spiked up, and so with Baker, first year in Tampa, I don't know, just kind of concerned about his target share.
I mean, Baker did fantastic in this game, essentially, bro. I mean, I don't know why this would be a concern of yours with week 15, 16, and 17 only on the horizon. You got 3 weeks ahead of you. Evans has been balling, and he almost scored with the kind of coverage he was facing all game, and he's just playing phenomenal. This is not a topic of concern at all.
Yeah, you're fair enough. I guess the JJ injury just kind of got me a little nervous about
that.
And stuff.
That I'm more worried about because, how is he going to get the production? Like, Baker's playing well.
Right.
We don't even know the Vikings couldn't even score points until the very end of the game. I don't think since the 50s, two teams have ever finished a game 0-0 at the end of regulation and gone to overtime. They almost did that. It was 3-0 at the end. I mean, this is, I don't know what, I mean, JJ would have helped, I'm sure, but I don't know that he can feasibly be a top 10 wide receiver. Could he be? Sure. I'm not going to rule it out, but I just don't understand. I don't get.
I'm out on Dobbs right now. Like, that pass he threw, hospital pass, that was tough to see.
Yeah. All right, bro. Anything else?
No, I mean, I'm good for now. I'll call back if I have anything else.
Yeah, well, good job. I mean, even with crap in the bed at wide receiver, I'm projected for 150. You got Tyreek Hill, you got Tua, you'll be good. Tua's,
yeah.
As I said weeks ago when people were freaking out, I think there are people even in here that are in here right now that were like, "Hey, I need to move on from Tua. What quarterback should I get?" It's like my advice was like, I would go focus on something else. I would let it ride with Tua, or buy Josh Allen low, or buy Hurt. Like if I could still trade right now, I'd buy Hurts low right now. And not that you're gonna get him that low, but people are weird.
Right.
And
no
offense to you. But, Evans is blowing up all year long. He has one bad game in double and triple coverage, and you're asking questions about him. So Evans is potentially available. Like, there are a lot of buy low situations from a lot of knee-jerk reactions, but you shouldn't be thinking like that with Evans.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I just want to see if you had a different opinion.
Yeah. Get rid of him. He's fine, bro. All right, later.
See you.
Sebastian, he's back.
Hey, Smitty, I had McBride on the bench this week because of his bye, and I started Njoku.
Good for
and
you.
I realized it's like, is it a Flacco thing? Do you think it was just a spike week, or do you think McBride is still going to be the better lore play?
They're both really good, and McBride's been solid and consistent. But I mean, yeah, Joe Flacco, clear as I said earlier in the show, you probably weren't here for it, I guess. Joe Flacco feels like he loves throwing the ball to Njoku, and Njoku loves receiving the ball from him. So it's a good little relationship. They push the bunk beds together. They clearly are practicing and have much more room for activities. These guys are absolute best friends. The two best friends anybody could have.
Which one would you be more confident starting in for a floor play? I'm not looking for a ceiling this week.
Probably McBride, but I mean they're both really good plays, bro. It's always hard to sit. Always hard to sit a guy that just dropped 2 touchdowns.
Almost on 30. Yeah. But that's what I'm thinking too. But it's like McBride's also been good to me for the last 2 months.
Yeah,
So
McBride's been doing it live for a while, so.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
matchup based. Maybe we put it to a vote, bro. Okay. See, big gulps. All right. See you later. Let's see here. Final super chat of the night is from Ian. Ian says T-Law or Justin Fields next week, and who rest of season for playoffs. Actually, maybe we do an underdog pick 'em for tomorrow night before we leave. T-Law or Fields next week. I'm gonna go Fields. And who rest of season? I think I'd just probably look at matchups. I mean, probably Fields, though, for the rest of the year. But the matchups are obviously a point of consideration. But Fields, if I remember correctly, actually, let me just pull it up before I run my mouth off. I'm pretty sure Fields is probably the play here. Let's see here. Justin Fields of Dreams. Of course, it won't pull up. Quarterbacks, week 14 stats. Let me just find it that way. Justin Fields. There we go. Okay, he has Cleveland next week, but then he has Arizona and Atlanta. So those are really good matchups for him in week 17 and week 16. And honestly, I mean, Cleveland, I guess next week, T-Law ranked 8th this week, by the way. He's got Baltimore next week. No, I'm gonna go Fields all 3 weeks. But of course, that would change if like there's an injury to Fields or DJ Moore went down or something like that. You know what I mean? So Ian, appreciate you dropping your super chat. The answer is Fields. I don't want Baltimore next week. Appreciate you, bro. All right. Now we're going to go to Underdog. Hit that link, Underdog Fantasy, promo code Smitty. Guys, this is what you need to be doing with your time right now. Underdog Fantasy, promo code Smitty. I'm going to pin that link in the live chat as we speak right now. Got 440 of you in here. Not only does this support the show when you do this, but we're going to plug in and we're going to do a pick 'em, and I want you guys to do it with me. Let's figure this out. Let's group think this bad boy, and let's see here. Let me pull up Underdog. All right, here we go. Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty. They'll double your first deposit up to $100 by using the link that I just pinned in the live chat. And if you're watching a replay of this video, the link's in the description of this video and pretty much every video. And code Smitty does the same thing. The link just inserts code Smitty for you, so it's a lot easier. But we're going to do a week number 14 Monday night, 4 games, so it's going to be fun to do. Pick 'em, okay? We're going to go with, Levis. I like unders on this one. Fumbles lost. 1 fumble lost, 0.275. I love that. I'll take that. That's going to make this a very, very nice paying ticket. Derrick Henry touchdown, 1.25 scorcher. I'll take that. Hopkins, let's stay away. Let's go on over to we got a bunch of other games that we can concern ourselves with. Tua Tagovailoa, Raheem Mostert, Devon Achane. Of course, they don't have Devon Achane with the scorcher, but I do think Mostert could score a touchdown. I'm tempted to do that, but let's go ahead and just use a normal 54 yards rushing higher on Achane. We don't need to make everything a scorcher. And Mostert, 45 yards. I think he rushes for more than 45 yards. I think they both hit that. And then Tyreek Hill, no scorcher available. I don't know if it'll let us do Tua as well. Anything with Tua. Let's go to the next game. I don't have to fill us up with all Dolphins. I can go straight over to this one. I might have to take one off anyway. I might have to take Mostert off. Love. There's no scorcher for Love, but I still like Love over 223 passing yards. What's Love been doing the last 3 games? 267, 268, 322. I kind of feel like he's going to have well over 223. I'm going to say higher on that. And so I'm all maxed out here. So the one that I want to take away, I guess, would be Mostert, 43 yards. Although I think that's a good one. Maybe I'll put it back. Jaden Reed, scorcher touchdown would be interesting. Dobbs, 1.75 scorcher on a touchdown. I think Dobbs is a good bet for a score. Maybe we come back and do another one. Let me roll with Mostert. Let me throw Mostert back on this one. We'll do a second one. So if you guys want to do this with me, Underdog Fantasy, promo code Smitty. They'll double your first deposit up to $100. Hit the link in the live chat. If you're watching the replay of the video, hit the link in the description. Or use code Smitty. They'll double your first deposit up to $100, and you can do this with me. Okay, so I'm going to go back to Mostert. Actually, I don't even need to add another one, and complicate matters. I could just technically go in and make this a $10, which pays $3.43. I don't need to make it 5. I can keep it a 4-player contest. So why don't we just leave it at this? Let me take a screenshot. Actually, we can take... I like that Levis fumble, though. Do I take the Levis fumble? We'll do another one. So I'm going to screenshot this one. I like it. And we're going to drop let's do a $10 wad on this one that pays $3.43. We could do insurance, though. I've been doing this lately where it only pays out $206 now, but I only have to get 3 of the 4 right. So I'm going to do that. I feel like if I don't do this, I gotta unplug when I hit submit for whatever reason. The phone gets confused. I feel like when I don't hit insurance, I always need it, and it would pay off. So I'm gonna try it this week. All right, let's go back to the drawing board. Hang tight for me, Redwood. Go back to the drawing board. I'm gonna say I'm gonna go with. Drop my phone. Hold on a second, ladies and gentlemen. Let me secure this bad boy in here instead of just setting it on this. Mostert. Okay, HN over 54.5 yards. Is it going to connect or what? Let me unplug it. Plug it back in. Connect. Let me see if I can get it to work. Clearly dropping my phone doesn't help. All right, let's try this one more time. Here we go. Here we go. Corey with a super chat while we're waiting for that. Zay Flowers or Puka next week. I can't sit Puka, dude. I can't sit Puka Nacua. No way. Not with the way that Stafford's on a heater, the Rams are on a heater. That's an easy call for me. I like both options. I love Zay Flowers. I love Zay Flowers. Come on, bro. What is going on here? Work. Why is it always so difficult? Unplug. Plug back in. Connect. Why you gotta be difficult? Why you gotta be so difficult? I guess I'm gonna have to take a screenshot of it, which is fine. Okay. So I'll send that one over to the screen right now so you guys know what I did. If you want to replicate it, you can. If you want to replicate your own version of it, obviously that works too. Here is what we did. Let me send it on over. Red Rover, send my pick'em right over. Here it is. Do it live. And I'm feeling really good about it. I did the insurance. You don't have to do the insurance, but I did. Because I feel like, getting 3 out of the 4 correctly, if it just feels like it's going to happen to me. I know it's going to happen to me. But this 2.75 fumble made it a higher odds, which was awesome anyway. So it's like you use the Scorchers to get it up there and then just take the insurance. And then it's almost like if you do... Every $5 gets you 100 if you're doing no Scorchers. But if you use Scorchers and then use a couple normal ones and you take the insurance, you only have to hit one of the Scorchers. So I like that one. My next one I'm going to do, let me go down to the other games real quick. I'm going to start off with Barkley and potentially look at his. Barkley, is this going to let me do this or not? Let me try one more time. Plug in. Do it live. Do it live. Come on. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. It's like starting a lawnmower. Just one more. Let's go. You got this. Son of a bee. Let me try one more time. Maybe if I drop my phone again. No, nothing. That's right. Okay, we're gonna go. Let's see, Barkley. I'll take a screenshot and put it on screen. Barkley's got no Scorchers, 0.5 TDs rushing or receiving higher. I kind of like that. I'm gonna do that. Barkley higher on the touchdown. I'm gonna do the Dobbs Scorcher touchdown. I'm still going to do the Jordan Love passing yards higher. I'm going to mix that with the Devon Achane touchdown. No, I'm going to do that with this higher, and I'm going to do the Mostert touchdown. So Okay, wow. $10 pays $4.73. Do the insurance. Do I do the insurance on this? Part of me just wants to get greedy and say I can hit it. I can hit all of it. I don't need the insurance. Who needs the insurance? Who needs the insurance? What are you guys doing here? I think we should take it. We should take the insurance. Here's the one I'm looking at. I don't know if I'm going to hit insurance on it or not. But $10 pays 400 and I think what I say 73. I'll drag it over here and drop it on the screen right now. So this one, if I do $10 higher on HN 54.5 rushing yards, higher on the 0.5, so you just need one rushing or receiving touchdown from Dobbs. Love higher than 223 passing yards. Raheem Mostert, one touchdown rushing, gets you 1.25 Scorcher. Barkley, just a regular old higher on the 0.5 rushing or receiving, so he just needs one rushing or receiving touchdown. If I do $10 without the insurance, it pays $4.37. If I do it with insurance, it goes down to $2.18. But I'm gonna do that. I did it. You guys can do it too. Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty. It'll double your first deposit up to $100. Links in the description. All right, everybody. I appreciate every single one of you. I'll see you tomorrow. I'm sure we'll have some news tomorrow. Probably
you forgot about me.
Oh, Redwood. I'm sorry, Redwood. You're like a ninja. Quiet over there, Redwood.
Yeah,
what can I do for you?
This is the second time this has happened.
Yeah, it's because you're such a good boy. You put yourself on hold and mute like everybody doesn't. What can I do for you, Redwood?
Yeah.
Poor guy.
So I'm in the playoffs, 9-4. My problem right now is QB because I've been starting Stroud. I picked up Fields and actually before the game I switched them out. So I'm glad I did that. But going forward, how confident should I be starting Fields going forward, or should I try to find
I mean, what's your alternative?
Murray's available. Stafford, he's available, but he might get picked up on the waivers. My waiver's pretty low.
I lean Stafford in some cases, bro. I mean, Stafford's playing unbelievable. So yeah. I think from week to week, if you had Stafford as well, you'd have to consider Stafford on a weekly basis. It would just come down to the matchup. And so Stafford has Washington next week, I'd start Stafford over Fields. Then Fields has New Orleans. So maybe I look to play, or Stafford has New Orleans the next week, so then I play Fields. But I would definitely pick up Stafford, but I would start Stafford at Washington next week over Fields next week at, Cleveland?
Yeah, please. So
yeah, so
Cleveland, yeah.
Matchup based if you've got a guy like that. Now, if you don't have a guy like that, you have a guy like Minshew, I'm playing Fields. Fields has 3 pretty good matchups. I mean, Cleveland's tough, but he can run.
Have they been good against mobile quarterbacks this year? I haven't really paid attention.
I mean, I think because Fields runs, that's where he's kind of bulletproof in a way.
Yeah. So the other thing, I sat Ingram today over for Kincaid.
Yeah, that's
tough. It looks
tough.
like it's not going to be a good idea going forward, or.
I think as of right now, you play Ingram until Kincaid proves that he's back. But
okay.
I don't necessarily think that it won't work out. It's just right now Ingram's on fire, so you got to play him.
And the last question, so it's about quarterback again. So Murray, I can actually pick him up right now if I want. It looks like his playoff schedule looks, pretty good. But how do you feel about Murray?
I mean, I just don't think he's on par consistency wise for you as Stafford. I mean, he's okay. He's at 22 points, 11. He's like an 18 to 20 point guy when he's got a good matchup. He's got San Francisco in week 15, so you're not playing him next week. He's got Chicago and Philly in week 16 and 17. Those are pretty decent matchups, to be honest.
Yeah.
So I mean,
I love Chicago. I'll say their defense has been looking pretty good. Like
why don't you pick him up and then put in for Stafford, and then you can maybe drop him then, or hold all three and just confuse the hell out of yourself each week. But I definitely would grab Kyler versus not right now, just to give yourself that ability.
Okay. Sounds good. All right, thanks, buddy.
All right, man, bro. Later.
All right, have a good night. Bye.
Let's see here. Can you get Flacco? I think he scored 42 today, says David. Flacco's good. I don't know that I trust him weekly, but like he's not bad. He's not bad. Like if you're in desperate need, I don't blame him at all. I blame anybody. Let's see here. I think that's it. So appreciate every one of you. I will see you all later. Again, help the channel out, help me out, help yourself out by doing some over from higher lows and doing some fantasy football week 15 underdog contests. I do these week 14 battle royales, week 13, week 12, week 10. Basically, you're just picking a team for the morning and afternoon slate games. You don't get the Sunday night game, you don't get the Monday games, you don't get the Thursday games, but it's called Battle Royale Week 15, Battle Royale Week 16, Battle Royale Week 17. And every week I get my money back at least. You know, at least if I don't do really well or do much better. I win. I'm winning like, if I do, they're each $5 and I do 15, 20 of them. Like I'm getting the money back. Smitty, Flacco over Dobbs. Dobbs might not. Yeah, Dobbs is done. You know, at this point, I think. So, you put a fork in him. Flacco for sure over Dobbs. All right, guys. I appreciate you all. I'll see you all tomorrow. I'm sure we'll have JJ news tomorrow. I'm sure we'll have JT news tomorrow. I'm sure we'll have a whole bunch of news. We had a lot of players get injured. So, you know, we're talking about JJ. We're talking about Herbert tomorrow. Is Herbert done for the season? Probably, if I had to guess now. Yeah, over Dobbs for sure. Dobbs is not, you know, not even a thing anymore. Nico, I don't think you should expect to have Nico this week. Jacobs, who knows what he's dealing with. I mean, he's dealing with a knee, but I mean, we don't know what he's dealing with time-wise. So we'll have a lot to discuss tomorrow. I imagine we have at least one breaking news show tomorrow. I'll see you all later. Appreciate you all. Congrats to everybody that dominated this week 14 Sunday games. You guys absolutely rock. To the freaking moon. H-N to the moon.
Devon H-N, please report to your shuttle to Saturn. Your shuttle is leaving. Prepare for departure. Touchdown probability high.
Breece Hall is 8 foot tall. He will always answer the mother freaking call. Don't let him fall. In the third, don't stall. Just give Batman the freaking football.
He's Breece. He's Breece.
He does a hell of a job. A hell of a job. A hell of a job.
Breece Hall, please report to the moon.
He does a hell of a...
Alvin Kamara, a menace on the field and in casino elevators everywhere.
Run.
Don't forget to Kamara that like button.
Don't forget to Kamara the like button. Hit it on your way out the door. We have literally 400 people still in here and only 150 thumbs up. Hit that thumb up button. Do it live. See you all mañana. Live Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, every single Monday through Friday. Live whenever big news breaks, and live during all kinds of graveyard shift shows like this one. Especially if there's a Monday game, we go live after. If there's a Thursday game, we go live after. If there's Sunday games, we go live after all of them, like this show right here. Drop your A-chan emoji.